You know, I like to tell stories. I like to tell stories. But some stories are really painful. And I thought I'd tell you a story that happened when I was about your age. And it happened to me. And the title of this story is, I Am So Sorry. You see, I was the oldest in our family. We had 3 kids. I was the oldest. Similar, all right? And they gave me a lot of responsibility. And when Mom and Dad had something important they had to do, they would say, okay, Bob, you're going to take care of the other 2 kids. My brother 2 years younger and my sister 7 years younger. She's pretty small. And so I did. Most of the time I did pretty well. But one day I wasn't doing so good, and my brother and sister were in a particularly bad mood, and they wouldn't do what I said they were supposed to do. They just got it in their minds they didn't have to if it was just Brother Bob saying it. My sister's name is Gay Lynn. And Gay Lynn was always this precious little princess. But that day she was being ornery. No, I am not going to do that. Mom said we had to do that. No, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not. Mom said we were supposed to do it. No, I'm not doing it. Not doing it because you said I was doing it. And so I got so angry. And it got to be quite an argument. And she turned to run away from me and get away from me and the instructions I was giving her. And she was always just a little quicker than I was anyway. She still is. And she took off at high speed. I couldn't grab her fast enough. So instead of trying to grab a hold of her, I lunged forward and I landed my fist right square in the middle of her back. Thump! I can still feel the sound of it right now. Arms fell back this way, eyes open wide, and she fell straight forward on her face on the floor, crying in agony. Ka-thump! Oh, I knew as soon as I took that swing I shouldn't have. I knew it. And I thought, oh my goodness, what have I done? Well, it ended up that Gay Lynn was not permanently damaged, even though she sounded like it at the time. And when Mom and Dad came home, they realized I hadn't done things exactly like they had expected me to. What do you suppose they had me do? What was that? Well, they didn't turn me over and wail on my behind like they did sometimes, but they made me apologize. You know what an apology is? Do you ever apologize? What they told me was an apology is made up of 3 parts. The first part of it is, I regret doing what I did. I am sorry about that. All right? So when we say, I apologize, I am sorry, it's a reflection of the fact that we have grief in our hearts for what we did. I did not want to hurt my sister. I love my sister. She was down and visited with me a couple of weeks ago, and we're still just brother and sister. We love each other very much. I didn't want to hurt her. And I regretted throwing that punch. Well, as soon as it landed, I did. But what's the second part of an apology? Do you know what that would be? Not only do we feel bad and know that we shouldn't have done it, and we want to say we regret that. What's the second part? Well, the second part of it is, I intend never to do it again. It's kind of projecting out in the future and saying, I'm going to make sure in my mind that I set this, that I am never going to act the same way again. I'm not going to do that same thing again. And that helps them to have a chance to see that you really do regret what you did, and you're planning to never let that happen again. All right? And it never did. It never did. But there's a third part to an apology. You know what that is? When you've done something wrong, and you've done something you shouldn't, and that somebody got hurt, the third part of the apology, to make sure you've got it right, is you have to say, what do I have to do to make it right with you? What do I have to do to put it back like it was before I did what I shouldn't have? Okay? Sometimes that's repaying things for the damage that we did. If you bump into somebody's car and you say, I don't plan on ever doing that again and I'm sorry, what's the next thing you have to do? I'll help you pay for the repair. Okay? If we hurt someone's feelings, and we can say, I regret saying those things, and I intend never to say that kind of stuff again, but what do we have to do? How can I show you that I really do care and that want to make it up to you? Sometimes it's easy because the person is sitting right there in front of you and you can just do those things right there, but sometimes it's more difficult. But it doesn't mean there's any time when we do something we shouldn't have and we think, oh man, I am so sorry I did that or I said that. There are three parts to it. The regret, I'm sorry that I did it. What's the second part? I intend in the future, I intend never to do that again. What's the third part? How can I make it right for you? How can I put it back the way it was? Okay? So when we apologize, if we just say, I'm sorry, does that mean we've apologized? No, we got a lot more work to do. Because apology means bringing those relationships, bringing that situation back to the way it had been before. Okay?